back at you live from the kitchen. So this is part 2 of the distillation of water series. We're up at cruising altitude now. Alright? We are well on our way. Drop by drop. So if you remember from the last video, we took the time to break it all down and set it all up. And now it's running and operating. I fired it up and I said that I'm going to cut. And I told you I'd be back. And here I am. Right now. So it's running in there. That's it right there. So the thing is boiling. The steam is rising. The steam is collecting and condensing. And then it's passing throughout into whatever I put down there. Now I try to keep it to be usually glass, or I have a little copper pitcher, but I don't do the plastic thing because that water does come out quite hot, which is pretty handy and crafty. You can set little things up here. You got actually some nice steam. I like to steam up while I'm doing this. Steam up nicely. You could even make any kind of type of tea right on the spot. Like this is just pure water going into the pure clean vessel, but you could have a vessel situated with some kind of herb in there. Then you could basically be drip, drip, dripping it, making a nice brew, which could be anything and everything, and maybe that's what we'll get into as we further explore this realm of the kitchen here with this little setup here. Resurrected the old laptop-a-rooney, found a charger that works. But you gotta be chopping up and cooking it up. You know, like in this spot right here where I'm right here, you see me here right now, I've stood here a fucking gajillion times in my life. Chopped up a gajillion chops. Boiled a gajillion pots. Fucking filled up, washed, rinsed a million sinks. Right here. So like, the thing is that like, through all this mixing it up in this freaking laboratory, I'd be like, damn, I would like to share this with people, but like there's a lot of different strange hoops and obstacles and barriers to really distributing it how I wish to distribute it. And part of my solution, I'm like, well, let's just start recording some things and then you can distribute that, right? Because I don't want to so much necessarily feed people as much as I'd like to teach them how to feed themselves. You know, I love to cook for people. I like to cook stuff up and share it, but I don't want to make that my like 9 to 5, and I also don't want to chop it up for people who don't appreciate it. But what I would like to do is just share the technique and the inspiration and the vibration to maybe encourage you to give it a try. You know? So right now we're starting out with the base, right? The foundation, agua, water, liquid for the human vessel. We're starting off right. Because when we went left, that's when we left right. Yeah, when we went left, that's when we left right. But water is the foundation of all of our life. And a great deal, almost all of my cooking is based on water. So why not start out with the purest water possible? Distilled water. So I've showed you how it's operating, and I'm just going to tell you a couple things about it. It's distilled, it's pure, it's only water. Now, something that's cool about that is that whatever you add to that water is now going to infuse that much better. So whether it's coffee, tea, chai, tisane, soup, stew, whatever, it's going to absorb all that magic into the water much better. It's also going to be completely free of dissolved solids. Like I showed you that a little bit, mentioned it, the dissolved solids, it's like a sludge, a white gritty sludge. So the theory and science behind this whole distilled thing in this water and the effect of pure water compared to all the water everyone's drinking is that all of that water has got dissolved solids, often called minerals, and we're often told that those are good for us. But maybe they're not so good for us, okay? Now, I haven't quite really been able to look at my own little cells with a microscope quite yet. But the idea is that those dissolved solids, in order for that water with them in it to get into your cells, they have to be kind of filtered out in some way and dealt with in some way. The cell wants the water, it doesn't want all that stuff. Now the thing of it is that, like, yes, we do need minerals, but I guess the idea is that minerals come in different forms and different states. And so you can have calcium that you might find within a plant, such as stinging nettles or lamb's quarters or anything green. That calcium, as well as all the other minerals, that calcium is able to be utilized by the body because it's in the plant and supposedly it's bound to carbon, so the body can use it. Now the stuff that's dissolved into water, supposedly, from what I've read, that's not organic. It's called inorganic minerals, which means that it's not bound to carbon, which means that it's not able to be used by the body. So the body has to separate it from the water to use the water, and in doing that process of separation and filtration, it's very taxing to the system. It takes a lot of effort. It's really tough to filter out microparticles from fluid. It's quite tricky. And then once you separate them, then what to do with it? So now the body has to figure out how to remove it or store it somewhere. So basically what I'm saying is that the idea is that the water that everyone's drinking, while it doesn't immediately feel like it's harming us, given enough time of everyday consumption, and if you really stop to think about how much water you are consuming, it's a lot, and it builds up, and you've just got these minerals in your circulation or being deposited or just in the way. They're just in the way. So this distilled water, you drink that, it's in the purest form of water, so the body, your cells, that they actually just take right to it. You can feel it too. I noticed it. Like, I've spent my whole life drinking from the sink, and then I started doing the distilled thing and just drinking straight up water. And I could feel a difference, the way it goes through me, the way it hits, the way it lands, and I could actually feel it all throughout my system, like actually going where it needed to go. Whereas like this water, like, I guess the taste is something good. It's always been good tasting water, but it never quite felt alive, and it just kind of, sometimes it felt like it just sat, you know? But this stuff goes right into the system, and it hits. And like the thing about all of this, this whole science of and practice of hydration, it's all still largely a mystery. Like all that's written on water, you probably haven't read it. And if you do read it, you'll be like, wow, this water's really far out, and like all that's read and written isn't the whole fucking story. Like, I can't say what it really is, but it's definitely a mystery. So I can commune with it, right? Here in the kitchen, in the laboratory. Water. Distillation.